Saudi Arabia continues its deadly attacks on Yemen. This time the country's northern regions have once again been targeted by airstrikes. Saudi fighter jets have bombarded Sadr province 9 times. This follows a number of airstrikes against several villages in the province. Local Yemeni sources report that Saudi warplanes have totally destroyed the Sadr's communication infrastructure. Riyadh has also carried out airstrikes against regions in Jawf province as well. Saudi attacks have killed over 3,000 people, most of them civilians. The United Nations has warned that the lives of 10,000 Yemeni children remain at risk due to Saudi ban on importing humanitarian aid to the war-stricken country. The spokesman for the United Nations Children's Fund, Christopher Bouliarak, warned that if food and fuel restrictions continue, more children will die. The official cautioned 120,000 children will be in great peril of diseases such as diarrhea, pneumonia and measles if health and hygiene services do not function normally. The official also noted 2.5 million children under 5 are at immediate risk of contagious diseases due to collapsing sanitation systems. Meanwhile, spokesman for the UN Office of Humanitarian Affairs, Igan, blames Saudi-led coalition's inspection of and air-sea shipments into Yemen for all hampered aid imports. Well, to discuss the situation, let's go to Brisbane and talk to Max Igan, radio host and political commentator. Welcome to the programme, sir. Mr. Igan, Saudi Arabia says it only targets the bases of Ansar Allah, but evidence on the ground indicates that this is not the case. How is Saudi Arabia going to answer to the unlawful killing of civilians, given the blatant support in Western allies?
Well, that's a good question. Will it face any, will it have to answer for it at all? I mean, again, it's going to come down to pressure from the people. You've got to ask, what are the goals here in Yemen? What is Saudi Arabia trying to do? All it was people that wanted autonomy, and it seems to be this is the trend. Any nation that wants autonomy, this is what we're going to go and do to them. And they're not targeting any military targets, they're just turning the place into rubble like they do with everywhere else. There is no strategic value. It's more of a psyop war than anything else, I think, just squashing out the resistance and saying this is what we do to people who dare to stand up against the Western Empire. And again, we're not going to see anything come of this. We're not going to see any charges brought against Saudi Arabia until the people of the West stand up and pay attention to what's going on and stop our governments from supporting this type of activity. This is a whole bunch of Western puppets that have gone in and just stomped on another country, and they're just turning it into an absolute humanitarian tragedy of epic proportions, the way they're doing with everywhere in the Middle East that they touch.
And despite the 5-day ceasefire announced by the Saudis, how is the humanitarian situation going to be addressed fully after all basic infrastructure has been destroyed by Riyadh?
Well, this is the thing, the 5-day ceasefire, what was it? It was really more of a psychological operation than anything. I mean, they give these people a little moment of reprieve and give them a little bit of hope and then just go in there and obliterate them further. And if humanitarian aid doesn't get in there, it's just going to turn into a catastrophe of epic proportions, even bigger than what we're seeing in other countries around the area at the moment, because they're just the intensive bombardment and the complete lack of support. I mean, Yemen's very cut off from everywhere else. That little end of the peninsula there, you cut that off and the people are just left to what they've got, and it's a very, very dangerous situation unfolding.
So what you're saying is that this 5-day pause is not as genuine as the Saudis claim it to be, and of course it's a PR stunt.
It's a PR stunt. I mean, Saudi Arabia is one of the most brutal regimes on the planet. Really, look at the track record of these people. And again, understand this is a Western-run regime. The West goes in and claims to be bringing freedom to the area, but yet it's supporting regimes like the Saudi Arabian regime, which is a brutal regime. And it's more of a psychological operation than anything. I don't think this pause was anything but PR, and to further terrorise the people in Yemen, make them think that there's a little bit of hope, and then just carpet bomb them again the way they're doing, and just show the world what we do to anybody who stands up against the West.
All right, Max Igan, radio host and political commentator from Brisbane. Thanks for your time there, sir.